Hey everyone, Assalamualaikum and welcome to my video. Today we're reviewing the Camel Student Grade Poster Colors. So what I have here is a set of 12 colors and they come in this really sturdy plastic box with a tin top, and I really like the presentation of this basically. So if you are not aware, poster colors are generally known for coming in little glass jars, and they look really cute and they kind of have a liquidy texture. They're fast drying and they are water soluble, so you use them with water like you use acrylics or watercolors. Poster colors are generally opaque and they are made with a cheaper pigment, which means that they are usually found at a cheaper price compared to watercolors. So the poster paints that I am swatching here are not as opaque as I expected, but then again, this is my first time trying poster colors, so if you have used poster colors before, take a look at these swatches and you can decide whether this is a good thing for your fit or not. Testing out the opacity, what I gathered is that they are not as opaque as gouache. You can check out my previous video for gouache to get an idea of how opaque they are, but they are not as transparent as watercolor because they do create a layer of the color over it. Also, a side note, painting out of tiny jars is a little annoying because I'm not really used to it. I'm more used to painting out of tubes or tube paints that have a paint-like consistency. And if you have any tips for making this easier to use, please let me know. I thought that this is a very interesting medium and I do want to explore this more. I also want to point out that Camel always has the best color selections. They have the warm and cool tones of the primaries. They have the black and the white, the two greens and the two browns, which is standard for any beginner set, especially if you want to learn color mixing. So if you are a beginner, maybe this is something that you can consider and actually get a lot out of. While painting, I noticed that the paints were sort of gummy and watery at the same time. The best way I can say it is that the paints were a little pale, but they weren't exactly spreading very much because they kind of stuck together. Maybe because at the back of my mind I am comparing this with watercolor. I believe one of the reasons why this happened is because I should have stirred the paint inside the jars better before I started painting with them. So basically what I'm trying to say is when you leave your poster paints alone for a long enough time, they kind of separate and they have a liquidy layer on top and a more paste opaque layer at the bottom, and you need to stir it a little bit to make sure that everything has an even consistency. And also another reason I think the pigments might act the way they do is because this is a student grade poster color. I am used to using artist grade paints. And the reason I do this is because when I was in school, my art teacher would always encourage us to use artist grade paints because they would give you better results and it would be a lot more inspiring for you to work with tools that are better quality. Now, coming from Bangladesh, we are actually really fortunate to have artist grade paints at very affordable prices. So I never really had a problem using artist grade paints. So this is again something that I have to keep in mind while using them. This is affordable and it is student grade. So my verdict would be, considering that these are student grade paints and they're affordable, I think that these paints would be a good fit for a child or maybe someone who is just starting painting in general. Maybe you want to learn about colors, maybe you have a certain piece in mind that you want to paint and you have never painted before. This is going to be easier for you because the paints themselves are a little bit liquidy. So what you can do is mix a little bit of water and then start painting straight away without having to think they might dry out, or they need more water, or they need certain amounts of washes, and so on and so forth. Or if I make a mistake, I can't cover it, which are things that you have to think about when you use acrylics or watercolor. So this is a good beginner step for you to take. Also, poster colors are a much cheaper alternative to gouache. At the moment, poster colors are comparable to gouache because they are water-based, they are rewettable, and they are opaque. I believe gouache, to my experience, yields better results, but gouache is significantly more expensive, so that is completely understandable. And if you've never painted before, maybe you should try poster colors before moving on to gouache. Well folks, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. That's all from me, and if you have any other products that you want me to review, please mention it in the comments down below. I'm always open for your feedback and your suggestions, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!